Well, Tom might have left the phone. Well, welcome
No,
everybody.
no, no, we're here.
Okay. All
Hello and
right.
welcome everybody to the Joe Land Insiders Club. And I want everybody to welcome my friend and someone that I've grown to know and love over the years, Mr. Joe Land, who is a wealth of information and a man that really knows how to get to the root of things and is able to look at things in a unique perspective. And that's why he and I have always been enjoyed working with businesses, because we can take a look at something and see it from the outside and see what's really going on and help people take it to the next level. I've looked at a lot of different things, and one of the things I talked to a friend of mine here in Orlando last week about was there's a lot of people that can take a business from zero to a million, but there's not a lot of people that can take a business from a million or 2 million up to 100 million. That is a bridge that is a hard one to do, and Joe Land's done that in more than one occasion. So, guys, take advantage of the having somebody that's been down the road before, because what I've found in life is the most expensive way to learn is trial and error. It's better to learn from someone that's been down the road before. So, with that, Mr. Joseph Land.
Well, thank you, Tom, and welcome everybody to our Ask Joseph Land show today. And really great to have you on and learn a lot from you guys. And today we're going to be hearing from people who are building businesses and doing some things in business. And you don't have to join this show only if you have a business. You can just join this show for encouragement. And so one thing I know people need today in life is encouragement. And, I want to give God the credit for what we do here. And, I'm not trying to sell you anything. This is free. So if you want to join and be a part of something that's free and be encouraged and hear some good things and watch God bless people's businesses, then this is a place to be. I was on the call with someone that I mentor right before this, and I told this person, I said, I believe God is going to give you a promotion. And just what I hear when I talk to you. And sure enough, that's what's happening. And so I believe that God wants to give us all promotions. And I believe there's some great things happening. And, a lot of times in society, when times are tough and people are struggling and, what you see in the media and all this stuff tends to make you anxious and that kind of thing. And what I like to do is see beyond that. I want to know what God might be doing, and I want to trust Him in that. And I'm gonna tell you, when you build a big business, there's a lot of trusting God involved in it. When you're banking it and bootstrapping it yourself. And I've been there twice. So, and actually there the third time. So I'm very excited about what's going on now and with this Insiders Club. We have people that are commenting back to me from China, Dubai, Pakistan, who are listening, picking up this broadcast. We have people on the call right now from the Philippines. It's just amazing. We have people on this call from Nantucket, from Hawaii, from all over. Miles, say hello from Hawaii.
Unmute. Okay. Yeah. Aloha. Yeah. Glad to be here. It's what an honor and a pleasure and a learning experience. Appreciate this.
One of the things I like to say about you, Miles, is it's noontime here on the East Coast of United States, but in Hawaii, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. So, man, I tell you, you're really committed to be on this call, and I thank you for it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good. And another one of my friends who's listening by phone today, Ute Appleby, really successful realtor here in Charleston, South Carolina. And it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Ute. And, we wish you the best for your birthday today and just appreciate you and all that you are. And so, Richard Gerard, it's great to have you on the call today. How you doing? I see you. Why don't you unmute yourself and say hello?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Glad to be here today.
Good. Richard is a 30-year friend of mine in Charleston, South Carolina, quite an astute investor and just been a long time godly brother and good man. And Richard is a dear friend. So great to have you on the call today. Bobby, how are you doing today? I want you and Richard to get to know each other. Richard is a very astute trader as well. And Bobby, you have a hedge fund. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you do today, Bobby, just for the benefit of everybody again. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you good now.
Okay. Well, I run a long.
You need to turn up your volume just a little bit.
Is that better?
A lot better.
Okay, sorry. I use one of these boxes for my sound thing. So,
Yes.
but anyway, yeah, we are a long short equity hedge fund. Nothing too fancy, no smoke and mirrors. Just I long and short stock market only. I don't even do options. I don't trade futures, forex, none of that. So I just keep it as simple as possible. All of our positions are short term, so anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple months. So about 90 days is about max long. I'll hold a position. Unless it's going very, very well, then I will still take out profit and then let some still ride. But sometimes lately that's been very rare. But when the market's going down, I'll ride it down. If it's going up, I ride it up.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't do the long term because stock can go from an example, like a stock can be $50 at the beginning of the year, and then 12 months later be right back down to 50. But all that movement and all throughout the year is what I trade. Because of the short term, you can have way more of momentum than if you just ride it out for years and years and years and years.
Well, good. Well, Bobby, put your information down in the chat. I'd like for you and Richard Gerard to connect. He's a great wealth of knowledge and a great source, and he'd be somebody that I think you'd really enjoy getting to know. Okay, well, good. Jerry Llewellyn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joseph. Thanks so much for having me on the call. All I know about today is that it belongs to God, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm ready to get the Joseph Land download on the latest and greatest. And I will say that I will accept the promotion that I am receiving from God and that I am learning to receive. And that is something just rich and wonderful. So thank you for your support, Joseph.
That's great. One of the things that I want to tell you guys about today is some people have a hard time receiving. They really do. You should read this book called The 5 Love Languages. And, one of my gifts is I'm a giver. One of my spiritual gifts is I like to give. I enjoy giving. And I realized a couple of years ago that I had a hard time receiving. When somebody wanted to give me a blessing, I would say, no, don't worry about that, and they were trying to be a blessing to me too. So it goes both ways, and we have to learn to give and we have to learn to receive. And so that's what Jerry's talking about. He's really doing some great things in his business. Dawn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Very grateful.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to have you here. And how you doing? How you doing with your shoe business?
It's still in my head. It's not my passion and my love. My passion is becoming a teacher for Circle of Life and more. I definitely want to represent the Circle of Life. So I'm working hard at that, becoming a teacher and an adept, and then eventually doing seminars and helping people. But I do also know, being a student of Master Lama Rasaji and God, that I need multiple streams of income. It isn't just one. I'm reading the book that you suggested, Cash Flow Quadrants. I am almost done with it. So I do know that I have to get on to the right side of the quadrants, but baby steps. I'm also learning delayed gratification, very important. Patience is good, and you're all helping me with this. You know, being around people who have been there on the path that I want to take is very important, and I want to thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you, and very impressed with you. And as you know, Rasaji has been a long time, a 35-year friend of mine, and I knew him, you know, before all of you guys knew what he was doing. So, great guy and a great man, and loves the Lord, and he's a real blessing to a lot of people. Shane Forbes, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and Monday is always a great day because of this show. I always look forward to it, and it is a perfect way to start off a new week. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Shane is a very talented lady, and I'm going to make a prediction. I'll put a little pressure on you, Shane. I'll make a prediction. She is a very talented artist, musician, and she has a wellness business. And she lives in Nantucket, just for those of you who are new on today. But she has a song that I think is going to be a blockbuster, and that's all I'm going to say about it right now. But with all the things happening in our society today, here's a godly lady who cares about people, who wants to be a blessing to people. And I think she's going to have a song that she's going to be out with in another month or so, maybe a little longer. That's going to be a blockbuster, top of the charts kind of song. I'm not a musician. I have a hard time playing the radio, but but for what I know about things, Shane, I think you're perfectly positioned for what you're getting ready to do.
Well, thank you, and I'm really at this time to have you in my corner and helping guide me through next steps and all of that. You know, isn't God great to bring this opportunities that I can work with you? So grateful.
Well, that's great. That's great. I'm proud of you guys. I just want to encourage you to, to be all you can be and build your business. And, a lot of times when you're an entrepreneur and you're building a business, it's lonely. It is. I remember when I started in the truck stop office, the office wasn't as big as the desk I'm sitting at. I was scared. I was frightened. And I had $50,000 to start, and I ran out of money. I had to get more money. And when I realized that I wasn't in charge and God was, and I had to give my best effort, that's when God started blessing my business. And, we created a $200 million company over 25 years, but it wasn't easy starting. And nothing worthwhile is ever easy starting. And so I want to encourage you guys that, as I spoke, several weeks ago, a huge oak tree that you see started with an acorn, right? And so every great thing starts small. It does. And then you build upon it. And if you can just receive that concept, that's what can happen with the acorn, with the seed that God downloads into you while you sleep sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just very important. Rachel, how are you doing today?
I am blessed. I am blessed to be here. I'm blessed to have you and everybody on this call in my life. And I am still astounded over this last week and how blessed I truly am.
Well, I like to call people out on my calls and be a blessing to them, because I know a lot of people are reserved, but man, you're a rock star. You're going to do some special things. And, this lady is in the insurance business, and she's crushing it in that. But she has a greater vision and dream that she feels like God has planted in her heart to do. with housing and helping people and people with addictions and that kind of thing. And so, Rachel, I know a lot of people heard you last week, but I'd like to hear you some more today.
So what we are planning, I have a business partner in here that was brought to me by God as well. I choose to do things alone usually. So God is working in me to expand myself a little bit with that too, because that's just how it is. Anyways, so what we're putting together is, it's just an amazing vision. It just started with a tiny home community on a plot of land, and then came into just a beautiful A-frame cabin system with some rental units that we can use to do retreats and detoxes for individuals that need to get away from the city. So I'm a big country girl. I know some of you heard this last week. I'm a big country girl stuck in the huge town of Jensen Beach, Florida right now, which is very small to most people, but it's very large for me. And so if I was living in an area that was much more populated, I would struggle even more. So basing my ideas off of that, there's just so much noise pollution, air pollution, food pollution, water pollution. We talked about a bit of it that I see out here just on a daily basis. And what our goal is to just create a clean permaculture on this land where we can teach other people to do the same thing. Alternate sources of electricity and how to grow your own food and make it healthy. As well as a treatment center that we've decided to put on the land as well, to be able to help people get back in line with themselves and off of the substance that they have taken on today, to be able to release themselves from the pressures and the pollution of society, basically.
Well, that's great. I'm really proud of you, and I look forward to speaking with you and your partner about your business plan.
Well, right now we're kind of restructuring the way we're doing it, because the way we had it initially set up, it was just too much all at once. So we're in the middle of picking the whole thing apart and restructuring it to make it a little bit more feasible.
Mhm.
So might be about 2 weeks from now.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, thank you for being on the show today. And you're just a ball of fire, and you get me fired up.
Thank you.
Tom Armour, I'd like for you to say a few words today. Tom Armour's part of building a NFT company. And if you're like me, I'm from small town in South Carolina. I don't know too much about technology, but I'm learning all the time. And NFTs, I understand when you start looking at what the Facebook founder Zuckerberg did, he changed the name of his company to Meta and the metaverse. And you look at Mark Cuban and some of these other guys, and they're getting involved in NFTs. That's kind of gotten my attention. And so Tom Armour is trying to teach me a little bit about it. But Tom, you're one of the smartest guys I know, and we've done a lot of financial deals in JL Capital. I've known Tom for 25 years, and you're someone I really admire, and you're a very astute guy. You want to talk a little bit about what you see with the NFT market and some of those things, and just kind of enlighten everybody for what's coming up. You know, somebody told me one time there are three kinds of people in life. There are people who watch what happens, people who wonder what happened, and people who make things happen. And so Tom Armour is one of those guys that makes things happen. So Tom, welcome to the show today.
Well, I was thinking with that introduction, I was one of the ones that wonder what happened sometimes, but yeah, thanks, Joe. It's exciting to be here. I feel like I'm the guy from a little town called Brooklyn, New York. Yes. So as I listened to our friend here in Jensen Beach, I lived in Jensen Beach for 10 years. And it's scary to hear that she considers that a big town. So that's a little different perspective coming from where I originally grew up. So it's exciting to hear all the different people on the call and the wide range of people here, and it's exciting. I listen to people and what they're doing here, and I look at the NFT marketplace as where it's going to be in all of our lives. where everybody can do things and can benefit. Creators, people that create stuff, songs like you just talked about. Uh, I'm just imagining as she's talking and talking about her new song coming out, she can post a song on the internet as an NFT and people can download it and she gets paid for it. And then if someone transfers the song to somebody else, she gets paid again. And the chain follows along every time it changes hands, or someone could go to the original site and purchase it uh, outright. But I'm just thinking about how it is going to empower creators, people that make things, and bring them to the marketplace and let them generate from the lion's share of the profit instead of the small minority of the profit. So NFTs are going to be all around us. They're going to be everything uh, from songs to pictures to documents to titles from houses to everything you can imagine that you need to be permanent or secure can be transferred on the internet and moved around on the internet using an NFT, which means non-fungible token. So I'm just excited about the fact that it's the newest thing that's happening. And I think it's going to be one of the biggest transitions in our lifetimes. So if you've ever been wanting to know how to get on the front side of something, it's just in its infancy. You know, we've learned how to create a picture and transfer it. And now it's starting to be songs. And then now they're starting to add documents and pretty much everything I think we're going to be doing in the future that is that we're going to do that we do a lot now physically is going to be able to be done through non-fungible tokens. So NFTs is going to be the biggest marketplace over the next 5 years. It's going to start to explode. And over the next 10 years will be pretty much everything we do other than touch to touch, one person shaking hands with another person. So take time to learn about it. Um, it's definitely an area you want to know about now rather than later, because those people that take advantage of things early usually benefit the most. So we are in its infancy right now. It is literally just starting. So learn more about NFTs, and if anybody wants to learn more, we're going to create a platform where people can learn more about it and also grow their own businesses in the NFT marketplace, or just learn how to take advantage of it for their business. So, Joe, you're on mute.
Last week, we were talking about how technology has changed over the years, you know, and we don't stop and think about it much because we're just getting the next new thing and the next new thing and the next new thing. But I go back and think about growing up, you know, my father and how we lived in a mill house and furnished for us by the mill, and we had a phone and it was in the center of the house, right? We didn't have cell phones back then. And so my father passed away in 1987 and he never saw the fax machine, right? And so he never saw the cell phone. And so when you think about things today, I mean, I used to use the fax machine all the time in my business. Today, I never use the fax machine because I'm scanning and emailing. And so you think about how progression with technology is going. You think about, let's just talk about iPhone for a moment. You know, iPhone will come out with an iPhone 10, and then next thing you know, there's an iPhone 11. And then the next thing you know, there's an iPhone 12, you know, and it's just a more wonderful version of the last one. And so when you look at things like Facebook, you know, and you look at social media, well, gosh, you know, it's amazing the invention of Facebook, because you know, you can be in touch with your high school classmates that you would probably never be able to be in touch with before. So there's always good in technology, and I'm sure there's always bad in technology too. but it's going to be amazing what we see. And Tom Armour's talking about NFT. Shane, that'd be pretty exciting to take your song and have people buying it as an NFT. So I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I've been excited about this since I heard you talk about it, Tom. And having been a professional musician and performer for about 20 years, I saw the other end of the stick where, you do all the work, but if you want to get bigger and be more successful, you basically sign a contract giving most of the benefits of your work to a large record company or management company or whatever. So this is very, very exciting.
Good.
Well, I always looked at it, Joe, that, someone that writes a song usually makes the least amount of money from the song. And then that's kind of the strange thing. The one that actually creates it is the one that makes the least out of the song. And it's like, why is that? And that's just because of the way of distributing. The smaller person had no way of getting it out there. But with NFTs and the internet combined, oh my God, it's limitless what you can do.
That's right. Things are changing, aren't they? Tom Henderson down in Florida. I want you to give us some wisdom today. I've known this guy for 30 years too, and he's been such a spiritual blessing in my life, and such a model of a business person that, I would want to emulate and be like. And Tom, I just thank you for the positive influence you've been on me and my family all these years. And I thank you for modeling success in business. And I thank you for always staying in touch with me and always encouraging me. And you and your wife, Lynn, are such a blessing to Jennifer and me. We love you so much. And it's really great to have you on the show today.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I don't know. Did you send out your link to your book to everyone?
I can have someone do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you sent the link and I downloaded and everything, and I read your book years ago and stuff, and I just finished rereading it again this week. And it just still so uplifting. Everything is still current. One of the things I like you said, it's about your passion, your knowledge and everything, really about a topic or something, but your passion about it is what sells. Where are you at here, Don? With your shoe concept and different things, it's just the dreaming of it and putting feet to it and doing it. A lot of people dream, but they don't put any action to the dreams. Most people die with the dream still in them. And that's a nice thing about this here. Everybody is from different backgrounds, different areas. It could give you a different concept of your ideas and stuff by hearing somebody that doesn't know all the ways it can fail. If you don't know all the ways it can fail, you can do amazing things. And Rachel, you and your partner last week, I was so taken with your dreams and stuff. It's like Joe says all the time, it's not always about the money. It's about being able to help people and having an impact on people's lives. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think we need to learn, a lot of us have made money on here and still do, and hopefully make a lot more in the future. So we need to learn that time is finite. That's the real commodity in life, is time.
Yeah.
Being able to gain back time, spending our time wisely, creating incomes and generating incomes to save time. On my business cards, I got a little thing, man, on there with a watch, how to buy back time, because time is the major commodity. It's just, it's good to chase the money. And I got telling Joe, I've got a 10-year, I'm turning 80 here in another year, and I still got a 10-year goal of things I want to do. Age is a mental thing. It just, you got to keep dreaming and going. If you stop that, then you might as well just put the dirt over you, because you're already dead. You still got to be moving and doing things for people and just leaving a legacy.
That's right. That's right.
just be excited about life. Thank you, Joe and Tommy Armour. We go back 30 years together, and I was thinking about you. Tommy was talking about FTD, non-fungible tokens. I remember a meeting we went to, a thing that the three of us were involved in over 20-some years ago. And we're talking about everybody getting things delivered to the house and groceries and never have to go shopping again. And that was 20-some years ago. And that's what people are doing today, you know, ahead of the curve, behind the curve. Just that's where technology is going, with or without us. So it just hook onto the train, you know.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Exactly right. You know, one of the things you said, and the older you get, the more you realize this, but, you know, time is really the currency of life, isn't it? Time is really important, and how we spend our time. I heard a story one time about a very wealthy man in the hospital on his dying bed. And, you know, he didn't want any more money. He wanted to spend more time with his family. And that really stuck with me over the years because, you know, in building my first business, you know, I was so tenacious and all of that. And I probably didn't spend as much time with my family as I wanted to or should have. But man, today I'm spending as much time as I can with my family and my grandchildren and children. And it's just watching God bless, you know, that time is just so important. And so stop and take a deep breath and smell the roses, because life is more than just building a huge business. You know, life is about being balanced in your approach to doing business. And that's what I've learned over the years. Mark Chua, I want you to unmute yourself, if you will. I don't know if you're available to. Mark is in the Philippines. I want to introduce you to a really sharp guy. Mark and his wife Doris run my brand. They represent the Joseph Land brand. And a lot of the postings that you see on social media and all the things that you see, the graphics Doris does, the website, everything from soup to nuts, these guys do. And so I'll introduce you to one of the sharpest young entrepreneurs I know. This is Mark Chua, and he lives in the Philippines. And eventually you're going to have a business, and you're going to have a big business, and you're going to need somebody like Mark running the show, making you look good like he does me. And he's the real deal. So Mark, say hello to everybody and let them hear about you a little bit, besides your love for Batman, you and your little son.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Joseph, for the kind words. We really appreciate that. I'm talking from the future. It's actually 12:36 Tuesday morning here. So it's from the future. Just kidding. Yes, actually, me and my wife, Doris, is at the back. Joseph gave us the privilege to work for him. And he helped us a lot, tremendously. You know, we owe everything to Joseph. Of course, God made him an instrument, just like everyone else here had the grace and the privilege to have known him. So we are forever in debt. And a huge thank you, Joseph, for keeping us, for how many years now? Like 3 to 4 years now.
Yes.
So looking, choose for more years to come.
Well, good. If you see post on my page, or JL Capital page, or Dreammaker page on Facebook, that's Mark doing it, making me look good. If you see, and I'm checking it, but if you see LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or all that stuff, he's the guy driving all that. And his wife is a lot prettier than him, of course, but more brilliant. And she runs the back end of everything I do. And so Doris, I'll have you on next time to say hello to everybody. But when you're operating and doing things in today's society, you have to have a brand. I mean, I do business in China, I do business in Dubai, Indonesia, a lot of different places in the finance world, and I have to have a brand. And I'll be very honest with you. I don't I don't like, posting all the time and doing all that. I'd rather be outside, but or spending time with my grandchildren. But you have to do that because people are always checking you out to see if you are real, to do business with you, especially, if you're doing business in the global society that we live in. So I wanted you guys to have a firsthand look at Mark, and next week it'll be Doris. But Mark can, as your business grows, Mark can help you align yourself to create a better brand for yourself. But all the graphics you see behind me right now, all the things that you see me do are created by this couple in the Philippines. Isn't that cool? And so, and then a lot of the people that I'm involved with in businesses or invested in businesses with or whatever, Mark and Doris drive that branding as well. So really cool to know. I just wanted to give you all a little taste. You probably didn't know. How many people knew that already? Raise your hand. So if you need some good branding and you need some expertise in that area, we can steer you in the right direction as well. I want to talk to you today. I want you to get your pens and paper out. I want to talk to you today about what you speak matters. Have you ever had somebody say something to you that's hurt your feelings? You ever had anybody say anything to you to hurt your feelings? Have you? I have. I mean, I certainly have. Have you ever said anything to someone that you wish you hadn't said? I have. And here's what I've learned as I've aged and grown in my faith. I want you to write this down. You never have to take back a word that you did not say. Isn't that cool? And so the Bible says, be slow to speak, right? And so you never have to take back a word that you do not say. And so what I've learned from that is, we have to be very diligent with our wording and what we speak, because speaking is a privilege, and we have the power to bless or to wound people with what we say. And so you can say something today in 10 seconds that 10 years later is still hurtful to someone, right? And so your words are free. And so how you use your words may cost you in the long run. So be careful what you say. How cool is that? Is that good? And so people get emotional and say things that they regret saying. And when I'm emotional, I don't make a business decision. I have learned so much from my wife, Jennifer. She is very slow to speak. She's very quiet about what she does. She's very quiet about her business. And she is very, very diligent. And when she says something, there's always a blessing tied to it. Isn't that right, Tom Henderson? And so I heard someone say that Samson in the Bible, he killed over 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass, if you read it. And then I heard somebody say there are more sales killed with what we say in a day than he killed the Philistines, So it's about what we say and how we position ourselves to speak. And, I remember my mother, she would not say a bad thing about anybody. And she said, if I can't say something good about somebody, I'm not going to say anything. Isn't that cool? And so I just remember that all of my life. And so I want us to really consider, what we say, because speaking is a privilege. God gives us the ability to speak as a privilege. I had a friend of mine Christian brother who recently had cancer of the tongue, and they removed 2/3 of his tongue. And he's been going through therapy and struggling to, to be able to speak again. And a lot of us have been praying for him. And so it's been really amazing to watch his progress. And, I've been saying to him that God is going to use him as a mouthpiece one day. And that's something, because that's what I see in him. And so I want you to really think about what it is you say before you say it. Because as I say, once you say it, you can't take it back. You can't. And so in James in the Bible, it says that, ships as an example, a small rudder controls a ship. It turns it which this way and that. And likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boast about what it can do, and even the forest is set on fire by a small spark, And so I've been thinking about all these things, and I'm just so moved by the example of people who speak blessing over people and speak positive encouragement to people. I know there's so many people in our society today who want to find something wrong with everything, and instead of 1,000 reasons why something won't work, instead of one reason why it will, right? And so when you come to me, I'm gonna be speaking blessing, and I'm gonna be speaking encouragement to you, because that's who I am. I like what it says in Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 and 23. It says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and understanding, and faithfulness. And so our actions, along with our words spoken, are gentleness and peacefulness and self-control. Demonstrate love even in the midst of our enemies. When you have someone who maybe doesn't like you, and you show kindness to them and you speak blessing over them, they can't help. They don't know what to do with it, right? And so that's just the path I choose. And I found in my business life, I could be in the toughest negotiation over something, and I can just be kind and gentlemanly and understanding and say things like, I never thought about it that way, and then before you know it, I'm able to get my point across in a kind, gentlemanly way than if I was forced, hey, you're in my office, you're gonna do what I tell you to do. That doesn't work with people. That doesn't work. What works with people is being kind, showing them love, showing them understanding, trying to understand where they're coming from, their point, and then speak to that. So does this minister to anybody today? Is it just me, right? And so I went through a tough divorce years ago, and you would be surprised at the people that were my friends who didn't speak well to me, and lo and behold, 12 years later, here some of those people are going through the same thing. And you know what? I've just learned to love them anyway. And so my whole thing is, hey, just love them anyway. And when you love your enemies and pray for them, they don't know what to do with it. So just keep loving them anyway. And remember that when you say something that's so powerful, when you speak, I want you to think about this, that what you're getting ready to say, you cannot take back, right? What you're getting ready to say to someone, you cannot take back. And watch me when I get off this call today, I'm going to be tested in this way. Somebody's going to really come at me in a way and test me in this way, and I'm going to have to love them anyway, because I told you all I would. But it's so true. I am constantly I am constantly working on myself. And I've made some really great investments in my life. And the best investment I've made in my life was my faith in Christ and Jesus Christ. That produced eternal life for me. So that's a great investment, right? I don't have any investments I have that have given me something for eternity. So that's the first one. The second best investment I've made is myself, investing in becoming a better me, investing in being more understanding, investing in sitting and truly listening to what someone's saying, being a part of the conversation instead of thinking about what I'm going to say next. Actually engaging in the conversation and being all there. Have you ever sat with someone and they just all into the conversation with you and you feel so good about it, right? That's the way you want to be. Or have you ever been in a conversation with someone and they could give a rip about what you're saying? They can't wait to get out of your sight, right? And that's a very uncomfortable place to be. I remember in my first company, I needed to get a line of credit, and I talked to a guy, and he wasn't paying me any of attention and made me feel like an imbecile, and on the phone. And so I got in the car and drove to see him overnight in Atlanta, spent the night in my car. And when he came in the office the next morning, I was sitting there, and I told him straight up, I said, I don't think you gave me a chance. Just give me 10 minutes of your time and I'll tell you about a great business idea. And I need your support. Okay, son, come on back. I'll give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes turned into 2 hours. And when he got through, he gave me a $200,000 line of credit and said, I wish everybody that I finance was as tenacious about their dream as you are. And he said, I wouldn't have any bad loans. Isn't that amazing? And so a bad experience for me was turned around by my being real and just being in the moment and saying, hey, all I want is a chance. And you know what the worst thing somebody can say to you is if you're asking them to help you in your business, the worst thing they could say is no. But they might say yes. And that yes can send you on to building a $200 million company. And that's what happened with me. Isn't that cool? And so words are so important, and how we handle ourselves is so important that that I want you guys to think about that today. Anybody have any comments about that? Jerry, how about you? Jerry Llewellyn?
I totally love it. I think the listening is, I think the root of it. If you're listening to things in your head, you're not in your heart. You got to listen to not only what a person's words are, but what, the depth of their being. So you're really speaking to the truth, Joseph. This is the truth. If you can listen with all your heart and mind, you can be there with a person, and you never know what you can say that will be of value.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Anybody else have any comments? Miles, how about you? I know, Miles, you have a really great way about you in the way you relate to people. Everybody loves you, Miles.
Oh.
And I loved you instantly when I met you. And I just think you're a terrific guy, but you have all that skill set I was just talking about.
Wow. Well, like you said, it's easier to give than open to receive. So thank you very much. Yeah, it's a life of being thankful and grateful. And what Jerry just said, I wrote that down. If you listen with all your heart and mind, that's awesome. Yeah, and I always praying to be present. And there's so much there when you can be present. The presents are in the present. So wow, what a theme today. And this is really good. And took some good notes, and I appreciate being here.
Good. Appreciate you, brother. You're so committed. Dawn, I want you to say a few words because I'm totally inspired by you, my wife and I. And you always, and this woman has walked through the fire. And I'm telling you, she's just got an attitude of a giant. So Don, give us a word today.
Well, your story was very inspiring. It sounded like when you were talking to that person that gave you that opportunity, you were coming from your soul and not your ego. And it's almost impossible not to penetrate someone when you're coming from your soul.
Yes.
Oh, it's the place you want to come from because that's where God is.
Amen. That's exactly right. Hey, Dave, I want you to unmute yourself and say a few words today. Dave, what are your thoughts? You have any thoughts for the group today?
Yes. I had a experience with this probably in the past month, and it wasn't positive. I mean, and this goes to show you how serious this is. I said a phrase like, "Who's asking for this?" And man, I did so much damage to the relationship. A lady that works in our service area, I was being, I guess, defensive based on what she was asking because I'm very tight and controlled with the financial information. And the way I said it was just damaging. So this fell in line with this totally, and I dropped the ball there very badly. So this is so important.
So what do you see? I've done that too. So let me make you feel better. I've done that myself. You know, but once that I know, ignorance is not an excuse for me anymore. You know, I've learned the lesson, and so let me bless you. It's okay. All right, it's okay. We all make mistakes, and so what I would do in your circumstance is I would say, you know, I just heard an amazing thing today. And I just want you to forgive me if I was curt with my remarks to you. I'm just protective over our financial information. And you know what? You had every right to ask me whatever you asked me, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to know that I want to be a blessing to you. And I ask your forgiveness if I was curt to you, you know, kind of thing. And that will be ointment on any wound, and you will get you will get the response you want. I promise you. But you know, sometimes when we do that, we just we take what I call the ostrich approach. We stick our head in the sand and we hope it goes away, right? And it doesn't work in relationships. And so my wife was saying something to me the other day, and I said, no, we need to do it this way. You know, and I interrupted her. And I said, no, we need to do it this way. And my mind was racing, 100 miles an hour about finance. And I stopped myself in the middle of it, Dave. And I said, Jennifer, I want you to forgive me for stopping you in the middle of what you were trying to tell me. And I said, you know, I might act like a jackass, but I'm not. And I want you to forgive me, and I want to listen to your counsel because God gave you to me for me to listen to you. And God puts people in companies in key positions for us to listen to, right? And it just boom, solved everything. But if I had been contentious over it and let it fester, it could have been a problem. And so you never let something fester. Hey, just humble yourself. Hey, I might be a donkey in this. Forgive me. Let me start over, you know, and just laugh, and everybody gets a good laugh. And then there's no wound to be healed 10 years later, you know?
Right.
And so my counsel to you is just, hey, forgive yourself, number one. Ask that person, you know, hey, I ask your forgiveness. I was not trying to be curt. But thank you for being so forthright in saying that, Dave. I mean, I just have tremendous respect for you. And I've made that same mistake. We all have. And so what a great example for you to use on the show today of doing business and having that happen. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I think one big thing with that, Dave, is just the only way we grow is owning our mistakes, you know,
Yes.
rather than passing it on. taking ownership of that, I think that's the only way we grow.
That's powerful,
Thank you
Tom.
so much. Thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. That was powerful. Thank you, Dave.
All right,
Anything
thanks.
else, Dave?
No, thank you. Great
right.
show.
Yeah, great. Anybody else have anything to add today? Candace, I missed you. How are you doing today? You're muted. All right.
I said I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Great. Great to have you on today. All right. Well, Martha, we haven't heard from you either, but I'm glad to have you on today. It's always a pleasure to see you come up on the show, and hope you're doing well. I'm going to end the show today, and I ask you to stay on with me just a little bit longer before we close. But thank you for joining me, everybody. We'll see you next week here at noontime, Eastern Standard Time, for the Ask Joseph Land Show, where you can ask questions, you can learn about business, you can be encouraged in your life, and you can get some great information. So thanks for joining us today.